Bill Maher has attacked my family on many, many occasions. Most of the time we take the high road. However, we did sue him once. But what I'm here today is to attack back, to expose the hypocrisy of Bill Maher and his climate change agenda. Bill Maher is always talking about climate change and carbon levels, climate change, carbon levels. And yes, the carbon levels have risen and have risen a lot. But it's not the Republicans' fault. It's not BP's fault. It's not Exxon's fault. It's not the fracking's fault. It is your fault, Mr. Maher. And you know it. And I'm going to explain to you how it is Mr. Maher's fault. First of all, if you really were interested in lowering the carbon levels, the easiest way is to plant a tree. Because a tree takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and puts back in oxygen, therefore lowering the carbon levels. Mr. Maher doesn't plant trees, he smokes them. And he smokes a lot of them. He smokes so much trees. If you go to your TV right now and put on the NASA channel, and you see the picture of Earth and all the white things going around the Earth, people are like, those are clouds. Those are not clouds. That's the smoke from Bill Maher's house. If you're over in LA and it's overcast and you think, oh, it's going to rain, but it doesn't rain, people are like, oh, that's the marine layer. No, that's the smoke from Bill Maher's house. I remember, back a few years back, well, a couple decades actually, when LA used to have that smog and it would be all hazy. Yes, that's the smoke from Bill Maher's house. So you're saying, well, yeah, LA's clear now. Yes, it is, because Bill Maher stopped smoking 7 days a week. He's smoking 6. So one day cleared out LA. And so, Mr. Maher, you ought to be ashamed of yourself in proposing a carbon tax. When we all know that the rise in carbon is your fault. So, and it's your fault that everybody in the gang community and the cartel community, they know Mr. Maher because of all the trees he smokes. They call him Big Daddy Carbon. And so you think someone with a street name of Big Daddy Carbon would keep his mouth shut, but no, this guy has the nerve to get on television and wants a carbon tax and want us to pay the carbon tax. Well, we're not paying the carbon tax because now we figured out why you want a carbon tax. Smoking a lot of trees is expensive. It's expensive. And we think this carbon tax is just a huge conspiracy on your part to mitigate the cost of all the carbon you smoke, or all the trees you smoke, and all the carbon you create. So the carbon tax would help a lot, wouldn't it? Probably half your salary goes to carbon and trees. So you know what? We're tired. We're not going to fall for it. When you see Mr. Maher, tell him, I'm not paying the carbon tax. And Mr. Maher, if you are really interested in lowering the carbon levels and maybe saving yourself a little money, maybe you should plant a tree instead of smoking one.